Welcome everyone to the final Texans episode. It is time to close up this series after many successful seasons and already two Super Bowls. We are now in our final season, made it to the Super Bowl again, and have the chance to win the Super Bowl in back-to-back years after a 16-1 regular season last year. We're now 14-3, so the second best year we have had so far. And honestly, every good series needs to come to an end. I really like the Texans series, but it's time to make the final episodes of that. I think 10 seasons are enough. So I can focus again on the expansion team series with real players in both college and pro football game, draft classes from the college game, and also, future NFL players like Caleb Williams, like Brock Bowers in the league. So I will focus more on the expansion team series since it's also way more time that I spent to even set up the whole expansion team creation. So check that out if you want to have an expansion team yourself. And maybe there will be an option to create an expansion team in the next version of the Pro Football series, but who knows? I'm really curious about new features. But right now, focus is on this season, on the last game on the Texans series. We're playing the Carolina Panthers, who have also had a really good season. Passing yards not so much, also rushing yards overall. The whole offense does not look too great. Also defensively, nothing that really stands out. But if I remember correctly, they had a great record. Panthers, also 14-3, had the bye week on the NFC. So despite not having the perfect stats there, both offensively and defensively, they are 14-3. They won all of their home games. So that will be a really, really interesting game. So let's check out our last opponent of this series. Let's check out the Carolina Panthers. Justin Herbert is their quarterback with nearly 3,000 passing yards and 20 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Not too much, honestly, but also great running back here. But also not too much. Eight touchdowns. Yeah, we can see that maybe it was just very low scoring, both offensively and defensively. 87 overall, great agility and speed. Best wide receiver for them, DJ Moore, 93 overall, has been a Pro Bowler. And this year, only 1 touchdown. That's rushing stats, sorry. 6 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards. So they have a very interesting team, especially with Justin Herbert as their main threat. So it is time for us to hopefully win the final game of the Texans series. James Gonzalez, our quarterback, played an awesome season. Check out the video if you missed that. It's honestly the best quarterback season I have ever had. 4,400 yards, 41 touchdowns with only 3 interceptions. This season, not so much, but looking at the playoffs, also incredible last year. This year, 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. I think that's fine as long as we don't have additional interceptions in this game. So let's go to the Super Bowl. Can we win back-to-back Super Bowls, and can we close up the year with a win? Let's sim the game and then watch the highlights. So we are here in our last game and we get sacked directly on 1st and 10, beginning of the first quarter. So not a good start for us. The Panthers have the ball deep in their own half, but it looks like a fumble and it is our possession in red zone. James Gonzalez looking for another touchdown pass and he finds Mark Da Silva. It's a touchdown and we are up 7-0. Panthers want to strike back, but there comes Ronald Lee, edge rusher, for a very important sack. So our defense steps up in this important game. But Justin Herbert also in red zone looking for the pass and it is a touchdown. DJ Moore ties the game at the end of the first quarter. Not yet the end. 2 seconds left to play. Another chance for James Gonzalez looking for the pass. And what a throw to Jason Wilbanks, our backup wide receiver. What a catch. And that gives us the lead. But the Panthers want to strike back already in our red zone. And with that, they tie it up 14-14. Both offenses are really good. We need more points. We need to win this game. But the Panthers have the ball again. Important sack by Fletcher Salcido, our edge rusher. And that was on 1st and 5. But we have the ball back right now. Another pass, but yeah, James Gonzalez gets sacked before being able to get rid of the ball. And at the end of the second quarter, we should have had the possibility to get a field goal. Yeah, it's 17-17. And we need to already punt the ball at the end of the third quarter or not yet. Oh no, that's a safety. That is a safety on 3rd and 19. We wanted to rush, but not able to get out of our own end zone. And now that looks like another sack. Not really good. We are already in the fourth quarter. And looks like we might lose this game. Another chance for a throw. Good pass, Paul Scott. Does he already have a touchdown? Yes, he have. It's 24-19 with 1 minute 23 seconds left to play. Is that already the end? Or do the Panthers have one final play on 4th and 20? And we get the sack. Calvin Andrews, our first round rookie linebacker, sacks Justin Herbert. It's a turnover and downs. And with that, we win our 3rd Super Bowl. So let's look at the stats. 24-19. Gonzalez, perfect game. 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Both quarterbacks had a really good game. But in the end, the difference was just the pass rush. Really happy about Calvin Andrews. It'd be really nice to follow his career because I think he's a really good linebacker. Hybrid pass rusher. Looks like a good trade. Had 6 sacks and 2 interceptions in the regular season and now 2 important sacks and 1 interception in the playoffs. He's really, really good. And looking at the final awards of the 2030 season, James Gonzalez wins playoff MVP. No MVP or Offensive Player of the Year award for us. And also no Defensive Rookie of the Year. Andrews is top 3, but honestly, with 8 interceptions, 3 pick sixes, 1 forced fumble, this cornerback is crazy good. Heron, need to take a look at him. He looks incredible. As a rookie, 8 interceptions. That is not too bad. There he is, Stephen Heron, 87 overall cornerback, 14th overall pick. This agility is just crazy. I mean, he's really, really good. Does he have a trade? Press corner. Yeah, I mean, he's a lockdown corner. Should be in the Pro Bowl. Let's see if there is anyone also for us. James Gonzalez did not make the Pro Bowl this year. Chamberlain, our guard, is in here. Vernon Lawrence, tackle. Kyle Pitts, our tight end. And speaking of tight ends, you can look forward to a new series. I don't want to spoil too much, but stay tuned. Maybe already next week or in 2 weeks, I will have a new series that involves tight ends. I think I don't want to share more at this point. You have to subscribe to find out. Derek Brown also in the Pro Bowl. Defensive tackle, really good for us. Prince and both Ojabo. 2 really good additions, 11 sacks and 10 sacks. So we were really able to get to the quarterback. And our punter, Frank Latimer, in here. Honestly, I'm really interested to see where we are in terms of sacks. I usually struggle with sacks. If you follow the Munich Wolverine series, for example, I usually don't have too many sacks. But now with 2 players over 20, yeah, we are top 6 here. 44 sacks, that's honestly really good. Might be because of our defensive coordinator, I don't know. Two safeties, nearly lost because of one safety the Super Bowl, but this is the end of the season. And yeah, also with that, let's take one final look at our depth chart at some really interesting players we had throughout the career. James Gonzalez, our starting quarterback. Kenny Porterfield as our starting running back. Also someone we had for a very long time. Played here since 2023. So at the beginning, I guess, nearly at the beginning, had 49 touchdowns for us in rushing, not so much in receiving yards, but was a big play running back. 29 years old, starting to regress, 97 speed is of course something that's really good. Wide receiver, we had many different ones, but Mark Da Silva was the best one. We picked him at the 11th pick 4 years ago, or 5 years ago. That was his 5th season. 47 touchdowns. Last year was by far his best year. Had a step back this year, but honestly also one of the better wide receivers I've had. 92 speed, 93 hands, 90 agility. Now earning a really long contract. And yeah, in a second I will sim 5 years ahead to take a look where the Texans will be there. So I will hand over to the CPU to manage this team. And I hope Mark Da Silva will still be here in 5 years. Will be really interesting to see his stats. And other than that, Kyle Pitts was someone we added in free agency. Had a rough start for us in his first season. I mean, 8 touchdowns is great, but 4 touchdowns and 4 touchdowns the years after that. But in the last 3 years, with 2 times 9 touchdowns and 1 time 11 touchdowns, 1 year with over 1,000 receiving yards. My opinion is that it's really hard to get tight ends involved. I'm currently just able to do that with Brock Bowers, and he's really great. And as I said, I will do something with tight ends in a new series. But here, Kyle Pitts, great addition after signing him for a tough deal in free agency. O-line looks good. Vernon Lawrence was also someone we had for a long time. Drafted him in the first round, 88 overall. Also Peter Chamberlain, also former first round pick if I remember. 23. Solid pickup for us. Also on center, Reginald Alston has been part of our team for quite a while now, former third round pick. So nice to see that also someone in the later rounds can develop. 85 overall, now in his 8th season. Really good. So honestly, the offense was really good. And also one player we need to remember is Mark Ricker. 27 years old, former second round pick. Not picked by us, but he has kind of the Fitzmagic build with this intelligence. He has been the hero for us after signing him in free agency after a crazy year with the Rams. He has been the hero for us in the playoffs in our first Super Bowl winning season, 2027. 9 touchdowns, 4 interceptions after Noberto Everson was benched. So he's also a legend of the Texans series and also part of this story here. So the whole franchise quarterback discussion will be interesting what the CPU does with James Gonzalez. But it has been a while to figure that position out. Other than that, Derek Brown, also long part of our franchise, joined us after 3 seasons. Had a lot of sacks for the defensive tackle position. Was solid for us. And edge rusher, we had not so good. On edge rusher, we had many players who have not been that great. This season, we figured it out, had great edge rusher rotation. And I'm pretty positive that these guys are able to bring this team forward. Linebacker was one position we also struggled with early after drafting Ivan Hamilton first overall. He's an 80 overall. Tackling is really good, so he's coming along, not for the first overall pick. And he's a coverage linebacker. 9 sacks, 5 interceptions. Yeah, not the craziest numbers, but he has been also part of this team for winning the Super Bowls. And now also Calvin Andrews, the new hope for this team, the next hopefully great linebacker, drafted him end of round 1. And Bradley Ivory, a 16th overall pick, also from us, so another first round pick that we used to spend on a linebacker. He has been really great for us. 26 sacks, 6 interceptions, 86 overall, and the new contract is really reasonable. So when simming 5 years ahead, I'm pretty sure that he will still be on the team. And then let's look at his numbers. And other than that, also cornerbacks. I mean, I'm going into detail right now because I don't know which players will be there. Derek Stingley in 5 years might retire. We drafted him in the very first year and he had 21 interceptions for us. And I mean, I drafted him before the Texans drafted him in real life. So that is, of course, I mean, our face of the franchise, of course, for the defense. Samuel Sierra was someone I drafted in the second round, 93 overall. He was a former free safety. I converted him to cornerback, if I remember correctly. Has developed the trade shutdown corner, but I think he was a safety. Really good. And also Robert Williams. I mean, he has 90 overall. We also drafted him in the first round. We had really good draft picks, if I see that correctly. 90 overall. Our secondary is just crazy. Also with George Tucker, 89 overall. We did not draft him, but signed him from Cincinnati. And our free safety, Kevin Driscoll, also one of the best picks I've had. Pick 20, first round. Not that big of a production, but he's a good safety for us. 93 overall, center fielder. A great player. So this is honestly a really, really good team. And now when simming 5 years ahead, I'm hoping that they can win at least one other Super Bowl. This team should be great and should be well set up for the future. I mean, there are some players that could retire in 5 years, but the core team around the linebackers, around edge rushers, cornerbacks, and especially here quarterback, and also Mark Da Silva as a wide receiver, the core is really, really good. So let's see what the CPU does and what our franchise players develop into in 5 years. So 5 years into the future and Ivan Hamilton and Bradley Ivory retired. So Ivan Hamilton actually retired as a Texan, played 12 years, as I can see here, or 13 years actually for us. Finished with 27 sacks, 11 interceptions. So he has been a Texan for all his life. And Bradley Ivory also finished as a Texan. Nice to see. 54 sacks, 16 interceptions, had some great years after we gave the Texans into the hands of the CPU. A great pickup, should be a really good linebacker. Kyle Pitts, Kevin Driscoll still on the team. So let's take a look at the history and whether they were able to make another Super Bowl. Does not look like it. We won the Super Bowl. Oh yeah, actually, sorry. We won the Super Bowl in 2030 and they won it again in 2031. So 3 times back to back Super Bowl champion. A great success story here for the Texans. And after that, also 4 really great years. So we were really able to turn the ships around with the Texans and made them to a really good team after a rough start. We successfully succeeded to rebuild and made the Texans to one of the best teams in the NFL. And here also 11, 5-1, 14-3, 10 wins, 11 wins. But lost in the playoffs in the last 4 years, so no 5th Super Bowl champion. I will do one final sim 5 years ahead and see if they can win another Super Bowl. And by then every player, or nearly every player we drafted, should leave. But let's take a look who is still here at quarterback. I expected James Gonzalez, but he is not here anymore. That is really surprising. So let's check up on him. But first on Noberto Everson. Free agency, I guess, so did not have another team, played for the Green Bay Packers after the Bengals, but not that successful. So he was not able to turn into a franchise quarterback. And James Gonzalez is actually playing for the Panthers. So he left the Texans after his rookie year, had some really good seasons. Oh, wow. After our 14 interception year, 49 touchdowns, 41, 47, 41. I mean, he has been really, really good. 5,400 yards. That is crazy. Even better than in the first year with the QB rating. He is outstanding. I mean, he won a lot of Pro Bowls, MVPs, championships. I don't know. And honestly, in 2031, we won the Super Bowl again with this year. No surprise, honestly. But I don't know why the Texans did not sign him back. That is really surprising. 90 overall, great ratings, 1 year deal with the Panthers. Not sure if he will be there in 5 more years. I hope so. But he is not playing for the Texans anymore. That is really surprising. Other than that, running back, no familiar face. On guard, Peter Chamberlain is still here with 31 years old. Tackle, no one we know. Reginald Austin, really becoming a Texans legend. Still here with 33 years old. That's really great. Kyle Pitts is still here. Let's look at his seasons. Yeah, I mean, not too bad, honestly. Looks good, was very well involved in the passing game, and Mark Da Silva, thankfully, also still here. Let's look at his numbers. Oh, wow. These numbers are really good. Every year with more than 10 touchdowns, 17, and here he had 1,800 yards. I'm pretty sure in 5 years when he ends his career, he will be in the top 10 all-time receiving stats of this league. He has been really, really good. I mean, what a pickup. 92 overall. I think he's starting to regress, but also a lot of Pro Bowls and championships and whatever. Still the best player of the Texans. Good draft pick for us. And also Samuel Sierra still here. 96 overall. That's really good. And 29 interceptions. And other than that, yeah, as expected, Derek Stingley has retired. Also, our star linebacker is not here anymore. We'll take a look at Andrews in a second. Edge rusher, defensive tackle, everything changed. Free safety, Driscoll still here, as we saw earlier. Also 20 interceptions, 9 sacks. That's not too bad. And punters and kickers also changed. So let's look at our former rookie linebacker who won us the Super Bowl. Calvin Andrews now plays for the Bengals. 79 overall, so he did not progress too well. 87 tackling is really good. Still hybrid pass rusher and still really good in pass rushing. 30 sacks. Also, he left the Texans after his rookie deal. You cannot keep everyone with the cap space, but yeah, he also joined the Bengals like Everson. Really interesting to see. So the Texans still one of the better teams in this league. Still, there are some players for us involved. Surprisingly, not James Gonzalez, the quarterback, but Mark Da Silva, who seems to be the biggest franchise legend. So now let's make another 5-year simulation and take a final look at league leaders and how the careers of our legends evolved. It's now 2041, so officially 20 years after we started the Texan series, and some more players retired. Peter Chamberlain, after 16 seasons, 36 years old, 80 overall, so he regressed quite a lot. But good year for us, or good years, honestly. Has been a Texans legend. 16 seasons is quite a lot. And Jason Wilbanks also develops into a Texans legend. Is now here for 14 years. 8 rushing touchdowns, over 1,000 rushing yards, and in receiving 88 touchdowns and 11,000 receiving yards. After the season where we left off and did not use him too much, he really developed into a reliable receiver. Former first round pick, totally forgot that. and in the playoffs had one very important touchdown in the 2030 Super Bowl. So he has been one of the more reliable receivers. Also quite expensive, but let's see if, except from Jason Wilbanks, there is still anyone we know. Jeffrey Crooks was not someone we know, but I saw that the Texans drafted him 5 years ago when I started the simulation. So guess not bad. Maybe he is the new franchise quarterback. Yeah, I don't think so with these numbers. We had our franchise quarterback in James Gonzalez before letting him go. Other than that, does not look like it. Also, our center retired, tight end, of course. Our star wide receiver is gone now. So, except from Jason Wilbanks, who's, by the way, 35 years old. Yeah, I do not see anyone. So, totally different team. But let's see what they did without us. We left the team in 2036, I guess, or 2035. Yeah, in the last 5 seasons, they were not able to make the Super Bowl. They have been a playoff team since 2029, so for 11 seasons now, or 12 seasons actually, but not that successful. So we won another Super Bowl with James Gonzalez as the quarterback in simulation, but after that, successful team, but not a dynasty. So let's quickly look at James Gonzalez, if he is still in the league. If yes, I'm pretty sure that he's still really good. 87 overall at 35 years old. He has not been that great for the Panthers, honestly, so he should have just stayed at this enormous offense at the Texans. And yeah, with that, let's take one look at league leaders, season records, and also career records. So in the season, Norberto Everson is in here for most passing attempts, also here for passing completions. No one for us, if I see that correctly. Passing yards, Mark Ricker had the best season ever. Was a backup for us after that. James Gonzalez in 2031 in the first year of the simulation, and also Norberto Everson 3 times for the Bengals. Crazy, but at least we drafted 2 of them. Passing touchdowns, James Gonzalez is up here twice. Passer rating, I mean, look at these years. I don't know why the CPU did not sign James Gonzalez back. Other than that, let's look at rushing yards per season and rushing touchdowns per season. No one from us. We were a pass-heavy team, so understandable that we are not in here. What about receiving yards? Mark De Silva, second best season with 1,800 yards in simulation, and is also top 10 here in receiving touchdowns with his 17. There was one 21 touchdown season by Jeffrey Tanner, who is a really good player. But Mark De Silva, of course, legend. Also here 15 years, 84 overall when he retired, and he retired a Texan, which is really nice to see. 3 rushing touchdowns and overall 154 receiving touchdowns and 1,800 plus receiving yards. No season below 1,000 receiving yards. So he's, of course, one of the greatest legends of our rebuild series, actually. Mark De Silva, great to see that he stayed a Houston Texan and retired as one. Other than that, are there interceptions for us? No. 10 is a really impressive number. Tackles, also not. Let's still look at sacks. We're also not in here. 24, so Aiden Hutchinson. Someone who did not work out well for us. He had really problems with us, but then with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, oh wow, these are really impressive sack numbers. So still nice to see that Aiden Hutchinson at least worked out in the end. Was not successful for us. 37 years old, 95 overall, retired, but did not work out well for us. But nice to see that he was able to turn it around for another team. Micah Parsons, also really interesting, 40 years old when he retired. great player. I mean, he played a lot. But yeah, no player for our team. So let's round up the series by looking at career top 10s, passing attempts, no one from us, passing completions, also none, passing interceptions. Noberto Everson is in here. He had a lot of interceptions for us in his 5 years. But also after that for Cincinnati, 31 interceptions, 25 interceptions there. Not the best career, former first overall pick, but that's also part of the story. Drafting busts, and honestly, he was a bust for us. Was never able to get his career going in Houston. So we drafted James Gonzalez, who finished in the top 6 in all-time passing yards. Number 1 is Louis Hoke, who plays for the Rams, who just have an incredibly good playbook, I assume, because he's still playing 14 years and leads the league. James Gonzalez played also 13 years and is still playing, so he could still surpass them. I won't do that right now. Passing touchdowns also here, he's second. So honestly, he's the franchise quarterback we drafted and lost in simulation. Passer rating also in here, top 5, and this is just crazy. Rushing touchdowns, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson and Kyler Murray. So 3 quarterbacks lead that ranking here. Let's look at receiving yards. I assume Mark De Silva to be in here. He is top 6 for receiving yards. Not bad, honestly, really good. Receiving touchdowns also top 5 here, 154. John Villarreal is just out of this world. What is he doing? I mean, he has been really, really good for the Cardinals. Yeah, not bad. Played 17 years in the league. Mark De Silva only 15, so maybe had a chance to surpass him. But still, top 5 all-time wide receiver that we drafted. Really happy with that. And let's still look at tackles if there's someone from us. I do not see anyone. Interception, Samuel Sierra, top 4. And looks like he is still playing. Oh no, he's not. He retired, but he retired as a Cardinal, as I saw. 1 season for the Cardinals. So he was really good for us. 46 interceptions in the end. Great last year for the Cardinals. But also a franchise legend. And he is up here in the top 4 in all-time interceptions. In sacks, Aiden Hutchinson. I mean, that is the story of the video. He ends up being the all-time sacking leader despite playing horribly for us. This is just, I mean, it's a nice story. We picked him 3rd overall before picking Derek Stingley. He should have been our face of the franchise. Instead of that, we let him go after 6 years. I guess we traded him to the New Orleans Saints, where he was also not able to get his career going. But after that, in Tampa Bay, just outstanding numbers and is now the sack leader all time here in those 20 years. Good career for him and really nice to see that he was able to turn that around. But other than that, I do not see us in any more defensive statistics. Won't check field goals or anything like that. But with that, the Texans series comes to an end. Of course, the highlight is not on those last 10 simulated seasons. Still interesting to see where every player ended up and to finish careers of Mark De Silva, of James Gonzalez, to see that he really was able to pick up his very first rookie year and develop into a top 5 all-time quarterback. He was able to lead us to 3 Super Bowl championships. Won the first one still with Mark Ricker. And speaking of Mark Ricker, I want to see how he developed the rest of the career. Nearly forgot about him. He was also a franchise legend. Retired at 34 years old, 55 overall. Still great intelligence though, but yeah, stayed a backup for us for the rest of his career. did not play another snap. That is sad to see. He did not play another snap when simulating, and decided to retire soon. He was the guy who gave us our very first Super Bowl title, and now we are 4-time Super Bowl champions here in this career. 1 time in simulation, 3 times in the series. And with that, the Houston Texans series comes to an end. It was really nice to follow careers of Mark De Silva, draft great players. And after a really bad start with only 2 wins in our very first season that we played, we were able to make the playoffs in year 2, and then after a down year get into the playoffs more regularly. So the Texan series was the very first series I did here on YouTube. I will of course forever remember them. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you also enjoyed all those episodes with the Texans. Make sure to subscribe to follow the expansion team series and also the new series involving tight ends that I will do in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, with that, thank you everyone for great 24 episodes of Houston Texans franchise. I enjoyed everyone who watched. I know that not every video had the highest views, but it was really fun to create that and to develop a really good Houston Texans team with really good players. Legends were made. And with that, I say goodbye to 4-time Super Bowl winning Houston Texans and see you next time for a new series. Thanks for your support, everyone. Bye bye.